Every year there's a race in my city called the Indianapolis 500. Simply put, it's where INDYCARs rally for 500 miles around a racetrack to find a winner. And today we're celebrating this historical event that I have never been to by creating the syndianapolis 500. I'm going to be attempting to read 500 pages in 500 minutes with a goal of finding a 5-star read. So hi friends, welcome back. I'm really excited about this video. This is a little bit of a different type of challenge vlog. And surface level, it seems like it's pretty doable. 500 pages could just mean one book or a couple really small books. 500 minutes equates to about 8.5 hours. So over the next couple days, I will be setting a timer every time I sit down to read, and I'm going to try to read at least 500 pages in 8.5 hours or 500 minutes. The goal obviously is to try to find a 5-star read. That is the equivalent of me winning the race. And there are multiple ways that I could think about building this TBR. Most of the things that are remaining on this month's TBR are first in a series, chunky sci-fi or fantasy. And I could stick to that TBR and just start one of those books, or because I recently read Funny Story by Emily Henry and I absolutely loved it, I'm sort of on a romance kick all of a sudden. I think what I'm going to start out with for this vlog is going to be Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez are my two favorite romance authors. They both seem to elicit really deep emotional feelings for me. I love both of their writing. So I want to feel something like I just felt for Funny Story, and I have a strong feeling that this is going to be the best chance. I think it could be 5 stars. If not, at the very least, I know that I'll have a good time with this story and this writing. Just for the Summer is following our two main characters that seem to have like a cursed love life. After every relationship that they get out of, the significant other that they broke up with go on to find their soulmate. And our two main characters end up meeting and figuring out that they both have that same issue. So they make a pact to date and think that their curses will cancel each other out and they will then find their very own soulmate. But of course, an Abby Jimenez is not without its hard-hitting conversations and tears. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if I could love this one just as much as I did Part of Your World, which by the way, this is book 3 in that like romance series. I can't actually remember where these two characters came into play in the other two books. So we'll see if I remember that part later. But this book is clocking in at 405 pages. So in order to complete the challenge, I would read this book and start another one, which would take us pretty close to the finish line actually. So let's see if my first pick can get us to one of our finish lines, which is a 5-star read. Hi, I'm here for our first pit stop. Caleb has been making race car noises all day at me. I've made it to 2 hours of this challenge and I am about halfway done with Just for the Summer. That is 210 pages, so I'm definitely well on my way to reading 500 pages in 500 minutes, because right now I'm averaging like 100 pages per hour. So if I keep that up, then at 8.5 hours, I'll have like over 800 pages. I don't know if I will keep that up the whole entire time, but this book just reads so quickly. Wow, this wind is insane. The text is pretty big, and I don't know, it's just, I mean, it's an Abby Jimenez. It's a romance book. It goes by very quickly. I won't really say anything that's not directly in the synopsis, so don't worry about spoilers or anything, but we got to the like difficult parts much quicker in this book than I was expecting, because one of our main characters is Emma, and she's a travel nurse. Her and her best friend, who is also her like foster sister, travel nurse together, and they go to different cities and get an assignment at the same hospital. And Emma has a pretty like tragic, traumatic upbringing, and we're learning about that. Her relationship with her mom is really, I mean, toxic, but she is sort of like an optimist. Like, she sees the best in people. She is sort of frustrating to follow a little bit with how optimistic and like kind she is, because like, yes, I understand that this woman is your mother, but like the things that you learn about what Emma had to go through, it's like really hard to have any empathy for her mother. So that side of the story is a time, I should say. And then our other main character is Justin, and he just already had to take ownership of all of his siblings. So like, he was living in a studio apartment, single guy, bachelor, and now he's like moving into the childhood home, assuming care of all of his siblings. And that is something I could never even imagine, you know, like the biggest change in a lifestyle, and he is going through it as well, you know? So a lot is going on in both characters' lives. I feel like often in a romance book, I don't know, in the ones that I read at least, one character is having a tough time
time, and then the other one is just kind of like helping them through it. But in this one, I mean, we're watching them both struggle with things, and they're both helping each other through it. And it's been really interesting because right now they only have the like agreement that what they're doing is not really real, just so that they can like date and then break up. But it's obvious that they're like falling for each other and that sort of thing. So I think a lot of people are gonna get hurt. I feel like there's gonna be some tears, there's gonna be some trauma that goes on. And I wanted to come update you before we got to that part. I do actually think that I can finish this book today. I'm gonna be honest though, it's not giving 5-star feels, and I think that I would know by now, and that's fine because I still am enjoying it. But one of my goals of this video is to read a 5-star book, so that's dangerous to even have that like expectation, you know? But as it stands right now, I mean, I feel like I'm definitely going to hit 500 pages in 500 minutes. So I'm gonna read a little bit more. I have almost finished my coffee. This was a really big cup, but it is only, I think, 3? Yeah, 3 o'clock. So let's go finish Just for the Summer.
Gasoline Alley, baby.
Hi, hello. I think the last time I updated you, we were at like page 210, I think. Well, now we're at 310, and the time in which we are at is almost 3 hours exactly. So we're still hitting that like 100 pages per hour rate at which we were going at before. So I'll definitely finish this in the next hour or so. Well, not the immediate next hour, but I only have an hour about of this left. Caleb and I sat on the porch and we had a couple dark and stormies while Caleb had a cigar, and I was planning on reading this while we were sitting out there because it's so nice out, but I opted to just not. We just sat there and hung out. We ordered some food, so that's on the way. We got some Shake Shack, some burgers, fries, and a shake, and that's the plan. If you saw these flowers earlier, it's kind of a funny story. Our neighbor came out with like a bundle of what, 7 different bouquets of flowers, and she was like, here, would you guys like some flowers? And before we even had time to answer, she was like, my son and his girlfriend got in a fight, and she came with all of these flowers as an apology this morning. So I'm a little bit confused as to why she was giving them away.
Because he didn't accept the apology.
And apparently it was like 7 bouquets of flowers and
golf net.
And an assembled frisbee golf goal net thing on the front porch. So I mean, hey, like, points for trying. They're really pretty. I love baby's breath. Like, fun fact about me, I think these are pretty pretty. I mean, you know, I won't say no to a good little bouquet of flowers. Definitely makes it feel homey. Hello.
No. No.
Syndianapolis 500.
Syndianapolis 500. Rev up your engines.
Okay. I honestly don't know if I have anything new to say about Just for the Summer, other than there's been some relatable lines with our main character, even though I said that she's kind of frustrating because of how like open and nice she is and forgiving she is. But I also want to acknowledge that part of how she is a trauma response because of all the shit that she's been through when she was young. And now she's starting to realize that, like, as a character, as a human. So I'm excited for the last 100 pages and see like what her character arc conclusion is. I'm excited to see that. I really like how the romance is ending up continuing or concluding, I guess I should say. So I don't really have anything that's like overtly wrong with it. I still am not getting that like 5-star feel. And sometimes, you know, a 5-star rating is literally just a feeling. It's like, oh, it can't be anything other than 5 stars. I am really enjoying this, but I don't get that immediate feeling right now, which is fine, but that's what's going on in my brain. We're gonna shower really quick before our food gets here and then eat, and then I'll finish the book and come back and update you at some point. Okay, bye. Well, I finished Just for the Summer. Abby really waited until the very last minute to make me, I was sobbing. I sobbed. Like, told Caleb to stop looking at me, crying. Man, it snuck up on me. That was like a slow burn emotional book. One of my favorite things about Abby Jimenez's books is that she is so good at writing like the really difficult parts of the story within the characters' like dynamics. And this was a tough one, honestly, because some of the relationships, like with Emma and her mother, like very difficult to read about. Like, still difficult for me to think positively about that in any way whatsoever. But her character arc was really worthwhile and I really loved a lot about it. By the end of the story, when I was sobbing, I was like, oh my god, is this 5 stars? Like, was I wrong the whole time? And I think that I'm going to be settling on 4.5, and this is why. I loved it. I really will hold this in high regard. I think the only thing that was missing for me was like the setting descriptions. Like, I didn't necessarily fall in love with any part of the world or the setting until we had a little bit of crossover from the previous books in this like romance trilogy, because this is part of your world, then yours truly, and now just for the summer. So when that little crossover happened towards the end of the book, I was like perfect. I was like, wow, this is what I'm here for. I love this so much. Like, it was so fun to see some characters come back. That was amazing. But up until that point, there was nothing about the physical world in the story that like I cared about or felt drawn or attached to. Not in any really big way, at least. But there was a lot I loved about it. I think I'm going to settle on a 4.5 stars. And in terms of the challenge, I finished this book, which was 405 pages, in basically 4 hours. So was this challenge too easy for me? Maybe. It sounded like it could be a little bit more difficult than I thought before I actually started doing it. But I also picked a really easy-ish book for that first bit of the challenge. You know, like the text is pretty big and I knew I would fly through it. But that means that I have 4 hours to read 100 more pages, basically. I think I could do that. But in terms of finding a 5-star read, we will have yet to complete that task. So I have to be very picky on the next book that I read for this vlog. Tomorrow I will actually be at work all day, so this vlog will continue on Thursday. And until then, you can come in. So I'll figure out what I want to read next, but until then, I'm gonna go to bed and work all day tomorrow. So I'll see you soon. Look, Caleb made pizza and it's only 8 p.m. I forgot this was a public vlog. That's an inside joke with my Patreon, The Greenhouse, because during reading sprints one time, Caleb was making pizza for literally like 4 hours.
It was a deep dish.
And we didn't eat until like 10 p.m. And that was fine. I was fine with it. It was fine.
It was a freaking deep dish.
And it was so delicious. But I just got home from work and I didn't get to read today. That's fine. It was a horrible long day. I need to shower so that we can eat, but I was just showing the pizza. That's all. It looks great. Meow. 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 Poor Abby. Meow. 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 Hi, hello. It is Thursday now, race day 2. While my coffee was cooling off, I was just writing down my daily little to-do list. There are a couple things on the docket today, aside from our race. I've been selling books on Pango, so I have a couple orders to package up so that I can send them while I'm out getting my nails done. Caleb and I are actually doing a photo shoot on Tuesday, so I'm getting my nails done for it. It's going to be very howdy, done and dusted theme. It's kind of gonna be hilarious and amazing. By hilarious, I mean because Caleb's not Western and he doesn't really vibe with that aesthetic. But he is nothing if not the best husband ever, and he's participating. I'm doing reading sprints today with my patrons, so I have to schedule that and get that ready for, I think, 2 p.m. And then Caleb and I have an appointment at our bank doing, you know, adult marriage things. Not to mention, I'm writing again. Everyone cheered, so I'm trying to make more time for that every day or so. I'd like to get a couple words at least written. But then the task at hand is the Syndianapolis 500, and we finished just for the summer in 1 day on Tuesday. So now we have to decide what book we're going to be reading. And the goal is to read a 5-star book. I feel like if the next book is at least a 4.5, then 2 4.5-star books could equate to a win. That's kind of how I feel, but obviously I'd love to get a full-fledged 5-star. And there's 2 ways of going about this, okay? These are the 2 books that I'm deciding between for this specific goal. How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. This author is writing the screenplay for some Emily Henry movies. I think People We Meet on Vacation. Yeah, definitely. And it's 372 pages. I feel like I could definitely get this done by tomorrow, but I don't know if it would be 5 stars. That's the thing. Like, I just kind of want to read this, you know? A book that I actually think is going to be 5 stars. If you watch my recent, like, really specific 5-star predictions, this book was on there. And I feel like I might be safest choosing this for that specific goal. It's The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. I think I'm going to love this. My gut says I'll probably choose this one, but honestly, I might also read, like, the first chapter of both of them and see what's clicking right away. But while I'm deciding, oh, and this one's actually really short. This is only like 300 pages. maybe like 320. Oh, 340. Yeah, like 330 pages. That's a little bit shorter. Regardless, I think I could finish one of these books by tomorrow for this video. And while I'm deciding on what book I'm going to be choosing, I'm going to do a couple of those tasks that I have to do. Knock some things off my to-do list before I go to my nail appointment at 10, and it's 8. So I have probably like an hour and a half to do a couple things. So schedule sprints, pack pango orders, and maybe get some writing lessons done. And choose a book. Nails are successfully done, got a coffee. Caleb and I had our little bank appointment, and now I'm about to settle in for sprints. So I'm getting that set up. I think I've decided that I'm going to try How to End a Love Story. Risky because I don't know if it'll be 5 stars. I've never read from this author. I think this is actually this author's debut novel, and I haven't really heard many things about it one way or another, whether people are liking it or not. But this story just sounds like what I want to read, honestly. So I'm going to try it in this first sprint that we do, and we'll see how it goes. But we're going to start the clock as soon as I start reading again. See how many pages I can get done in the 500 minutes. So I'll come back and let you know my immediate thoughts and feelings. My fingers are crossed. Update you that I have officially made it to page 103, which means I have hit 500 pages for this sprint, or this challenge, and we are at 5 hours and 16 minutes, so I just nearly kept the 100 pages per hour streak that I had going. I think the spacing in this book is a little bit closer together than Just for the Summer was, but regardless, I have a good chunk of How to End a Love Story under my belt, and I have some initial thoughts for you. If you hear clicking or tapping, it's because Caleb's right next to you doing some girl boss things. Some business boy things. All right. But okay, this book, it's pitched as our main character, Helen, is a author, and her book is being adapted into a screenplay. And our other main character, Grant, who is the screenwriter, I think that's the correct terminology. They have a tragic accident that happened when they were in high school that has like bound them together forever. And now Grant has been assigned to work on her screenplay like 12 years later. And it is a problem, to say the least. You learn on the second page what that tragic accident was that has like bound them together, you know? And I was kind of upset about that. So right off the bat, I was like a little bit mad that we learned what the problem was so quickly, because I was kind of excited to be like led along for a while and kind of let myself stew in the mystery of not knowing what their actual problem was. But you learn on the second page, and like that's fine. Like it set up the backstory for everything. It just wasn't what I was expecting. So the first little bit of the story just wasn't the happiest. And it took me a while to kind of like get into the, not necessarily the writing, because I like her writing, but the actual just story itself. It took me probably like 50 pages before I was really enjoying it. And now I'm on page 103 and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm really happy about it because even though our main character, Helen, is sort of the type of character that's hard to like, I think, because she's sort of like straight-laced and quiet and I don't know, sometimes a buzzkill is how she has been described. But I also think that now, at being at like 103 pages, we've seen a lot of interactions with her and she's kind of let loose a little bit. We've gotten more of her like inner dialogue, and those parts, like on page 74 particularly, like I actually really love her now. Like I feel very close to her, especially when she's talking about her experience with like friendships growing up, because obviously, even though it's on the second page, I won't tell you like what the tragic accident was, but something really horrible happened to her in her childhood. And so it definitely like influenced how she has interacted with other people, how other people have interacted with her. This part particularly, I was really, I don't know, I felt seen, okay? I've felt this way my entire life. It says she could never quite shake the feeling that she wasn't a particularly vital member of any group. She wasn't the fun one or the good at planning things one or the model hot one. So she drew herself into her work and presented her achievements like bargaining chips in her social circles. See how useful I am as a friend? Don't I seem valuable as a long-term investment even if I'm not that fun? Like I know know that it's not like a super uncommon thing to feel things like that, but seeing it in a book, like reading it and learning about our main character in that way, like I just really loved it, because I, again, have felt like that quite a bit in my lifetime. So I personally, even though Helen is difficult, I'm really liking her. If I'm feeling like that kind of at page 103, I think I'm going to enjoy the book, and I'm hesitantly very excited to continue, because the first 50 pages I was worried. But that's really it for the reading update, because I am still doing sprints. We're doing our last sprint right now, and then Caleb and I are probably going to like get cozy and cook dinner and, you know, do our normal nightly routines. Fun fact about my nails, I accidentally, I don't know how it happened, but one of the nails is chipped. I don't know if you can see it. I think you can. There's like a little part on the top that's chipped, and I don't know how it happened. I just looked down and now it's like that, and I had to call and see if they would fix it, and now they're going to have me come in when they open at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and someone's gonna fix it. I doubt I have to pay. I really hope I don't have to pay, because I just got them done today, but they're gonna fix it tomorrow at 10. Something fun tomorrow is my reading chair is finally gonna be delivered. I ordered it, I think, in like January, and it's finally here tomorrow. But here's the problem. The delivery window for the chair is between 10:30 and 12:30, and in theory, I should only be at my nail appointment for literally 10 minutes. Like, I should be home by 10:15. So in theory, there should not be any crossover. There shouldn't be a problem, but I'm really nervous about it. I don't want them to get here and me not be here and them not deliver my chair. So I'm going to try to like put a note on the door and be like, hey, call me if you're here, because not always delivery people call you when they're like almost at your location. Most times they do, but not every time. So, you know, anxiety for anxiety's sake over here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow morning with that, but I'm getting this guy fixed at 10 a.m. and that's it. I mean, I think that I'm going to, even though I've successfully completed the challenge of 500 pages in 500 minutes, I think I'm gonna just keep this vlog going until I finish this book and see if I could maybe finish 2 books in 500 minutes. I feel like that could work, mayhaps. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get a couple more pages in before this sprint ends and then make dinner. Chair's finally here and I'm so excited. It's actually really great. Like, kind of better than I was expecting. With all the delays that were happening, I was like, oh, it's gonna show up and I'm not even gonna like it anymore. But it's great. It's really comfortable. I 100% didn't get the matching footstool because that alone was like $600 more. I don't know, it was almost more than the chair itself. So no, I got a little like mushroom footstool off Target and it's really cute. That should be here next week. And I really love it. So obviously everything's still a mess. I have a lot of open room on my bookshelves now because I moved all of my mystery thrillers onto this little turning bamboo shelf, which is really exciting. It rotates. I have a little space for all my arcs right here, and then the rest are my mystery thriller, suspense, you know, everything in that genre. Alphabetical, of course. So now what I'm going to do is change my main shelf so that fantasy goes, instead of just these first 2 shelves, I'm gonna make it go all along all 3 shelves until I run out of room, then do sci-fi, and then probably do contemporary somewhere in the middle wherever the sci-fi ends. And then I think I'm gonna do my rainbow romance shelves at the bottom to kind of brighten up the base of the shelves a little bit. Since a lot of the sci-fi fantasy are predominantly like darker books, I think it would be nice to move my bright romance to the bottom. Oh my god, I don't even know if I stopped my timer. I didn't stop my timer. Shoot, darn it. Well, I finished How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwang probably like 45 minutes ago. My timer right now says 8 hours and 25 minutes, and I definitely finished this at like 7 hours and 30 minutes, I think. I want to say I had a full hour at the end of the challenge. Wow, look at me in this chair. So fun. It's really comfortable. I'm excited. I can't believe I finally have like a chair in my library and I could just sit up here and hang out. The next thing that I'm doing, probably as soon as I'm done filming this, I need to edit this whole video today as well, but now I'm excited and we're chatting. If you noticed, when I was showing you this bookshelf, you probably noticed that this room over here is not done yet. I have paint right here that I'm gonna put swatches on the wall to try to determine what color I want to do. I'm thinking like a little terracotta moment or like a darker like olive green, sort of to match the rug that I have. I also have like a really light blue that I'm gonna put on the ceiling and I'm gonna do some like clouds. I want to do like a cloud ceiling. I'm excited about it. If it looks like crap, then I will just paint over it and it'll be fine, but I want to try it. So I think what I'm going to do after we review this final book and kind of just wrap up the video, I want to do those swatches. I want to reorganize my shelves a little bit today and just kind of like do some side quests before I sit down and edit this video. But we have made it to the end, folks. Finished How to End a Love Story, and let's discuss. Unfortunately, it was not a 5-star read, but I did enjoy it. I did like this book. I am excited to pick up more books from Yulin Kwan in the future if she does continue to write, because I do like her writing. I liked all the elements that she brought into her characters' personalities and backstories a lot, predominantly with Helen. Like I talked about before, I liked how she wrote Helen. Even though she was kind of annoying, like I still really liked her. I felt myself rooting for her, but I have to get like the negative things out of my mind right now. I told you earlier that the main characters are bound together by this traumatic event that takes place. The book opens up to a funeral, okay? And it is literally on page 2 that you learn that it is our main character Helen's younger sister's funeral, okay? It's literally on page 2, so I don't feel like I have to not tell you this, okay? She had committed suicide. She jumped in front of a moving car, and the person driving that car was Grant, our other main character. So our 2 main characters are bound together by the fact that her younger sister committed suicide and jumped in front of his car while he was driving at like 2 a.m. Again, it's on page 2, so it's not necessarily a spoiler, okay? Plus, the rest of my review kind of hinges on you knowing that fact. So personally, I think that is a very out-of-pocket thing to connect your characters by. I think it's really difficult to do that in a romance book. I feel like if this was just like a lit fic book and it was just 2 characters, like, I don't know, not having a romantic it just was difficult for me to look past that. It's not like he cheated on her best friend and then, you know, they accidentally fall in love later. No, like he accidentally killed her sister and now they're like in love. Like, and that's fine. Like, I know, like, life is weird circumstances. Sure, I get it. My problem was whenever our main characters would start to get hot and heavy or they would start to have some sort of moment, I would get pulled out of the story because I would remember that they are connected by that specific situation. And it would just sort of be a buzzkill for me. Like, it was no longer very hot and it would just dampen the scenes. And that was unfortunate because I loved being in the writing room with them. I loved them as people. I loved their growth. Like, I liked them separately, but I just like emotionally, mentally couldn't get past just their backstory, I guess. Which, speaking of backstory, the other thing that like I felt kind of weird about was the fact that they kept reminiscing on like their high school days and even like revisiting old places. And it was weird because they really weren't friends in high school. They really didn't interact at all, but now they are because, you know, 13, whatever, 15, however many years later, they're working together like we already talked about. But when they revisit their hometown for the holidays, they're acting like their paths cross all the time. Like they had this history aside from the traumatic accident, which they didn't, even according to them, you know, like it was just kind of weird. I don't know. It felt like they didn't have the shared experiences to reminisce on. And now here I am talking through it with you guys. And I could see that maybe they were doing that just to like get to know each other a little bit more, like retrospectively. And like, that's fine. But the way that it was written made it seem like they were reminiscing together on their shared experiences. And I didn't get that. That's what I'm saying. But aside from those things, I genuinely do think that Yulin Kwang did a really good job with everything else. I genuinely felt like even her settings were done pretty well. When we were in LA, I felt like we were in LA. When we were in the East Coast, I felt like we were in the East Coast. And I don't know if that was just like me mentally putting myself in those places or if it was like she really did do a good job at like transitioning, but I felt it. I liked a lot about this book. There was just some like foundational things that like I couldn't get past. So all in all, I think this is a solid 4-star. I'm still kind of counting it as a win because I will read from her in the future and I'm excited to see what she does. I liked it. I just had a couple things that I didn't. And not to forget that Just for the Summer was a 4.5-star. I don't know, I think I might rate it. I would rate Just for the Summer a 5 on Goodreads. I think if I'm being stingy, in my heart, it's like a 4.5 to a 5. So this video, I think, was successful. We read 2 successful romances, 4 and 4.5 to 5-star. I finally got my freaking reading chair. This is so exciting. Got my nails done. And oh, by the way, I don't think I updated you. I ended up just filing this pointer finger. So it's a little bit shorter than the other one, just a little bit, but I didn't want to go in this morning, okay? I just didn't want to. So I filed it and now the little imperfection is gone and we're just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna spend some time hopping on a new audiobook probably, doing some paint swatches, reorganizing the library, early and editing this video. So I hope that you guys are seeing this on Sunday. I successfully read 500 pages in 500 minutes. I successfully read 2 books in 500 minutes, even less than 500 minutes. That is 773 pages in less than 500 minutes. So I'm pretty happy about that. I think this video is wildly successful. I was gonna pose this video as like a challenge, and if any of you guys also have channels, like do the Syndianapolis 500. See if you can also complete 500 pages in 500 minutes. But in any case, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. If you are still watching, then leave me the unicorn emoji down below in the comments. There's a unicorn pool floaty in Just for the Summer, so if you know, you know. And while you're down there, please do subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye.